Welcome to MOCA'S world. So, I'm going for a little walk. It's the 21st of August, and today is very chilly. I live in a mountain region, and thankfully, because I'm not a fan of intense summer heat, I do appreciate chilly days, and this is one of them. So right now it's in the mid 50s. It's in the mid 50s. A few weeks ago we had in the mid 80s, but yeah, the temperature has been fluctuating a lot. So it's another thankful Thursday. So I am thankful to be of sound mind, to feel great physically, to live in the place that I live, thankful for my loved ones as usual. What are you thankful for? So I did want to mention that there seems to be a current trend in the US right now, sort of minimizing the effects of slavery. That's just one of many topics that seems to be minimized. But the last few days, the topic of slavery in the USA has been discussed at length on several platforms, and I happened to post about it on one of my platforms and had sort of an interaction with someone about it, where they were basically trying to do the same thing, sort of minimize the point of the whole slavery discussion, saying that slavery existed or exists or whatever. Anything to do with slavery is a global thing, but that was never the issue. The issue was how it's being handled currently in the United States. So that's a typical whataboutism when a topic is being discussed, that people sort of not want to talk about uncomfortable topics. And yes, it is uncomfortable. However, minimizing it or trying to make it disappear from history is not going to erase its existence. There was also a remark made that because I'm not physically in the United States, I don't know what's going on, which is the most ridiculous thing. As if to say there aren't news media worldwide and local US-based media. While a lot of the information is questionable, the onus is on whoever is consuming any information to cross-reference and do research and make sure things are factual before making claims, which is what I try to do in my everyday life. So I think that was just not a thought out rebuttal to say that I'm not in the US and I only believe what's on social media. That's quite an ignorant statement to make. So I think whenever there's uncomfortable topics that people don't like to discuss or hear about, the best way for them to deal with it or to cope is to just try to dismiss it. So, and of course, especially if people's have not lived that experience or some form thereof, it may be harder for them to empathize and understand. A lot of people don't even try to understand because it doesn't affect them. They're unfazed by it, unconcerned. So I always appreciate when people who are not directly affected by things take a stand for, people getting oppressed or just trying to right some injustice. And even just by speaking up about it, especially if you have a platform, goes a long way. Another thing too is, I think, especially now with the climate as it is in the US, a lot of people are very partisan, and sure, they're entitled to pick whichever side, but the larger issue is that more times than not, human rights, human justice, dignity for other human beings are being sort of compartmentalized into the whole your party against my party rhetoric. Human rights is not a political thing. So if people are protesting, rights being taken away, injustices on certain people, certain cross sections of society, things like that should never be seen as political, because bottom line is no group or sector of society should be oppressed by another group or sector of society in any or under any circumstance. So whenever basic human rights, basic human dignity is involved, that's nothing to do with politics. And they should not be misconstrued as such. So I hear in the distance some people are, I think, chopping wood, so processing lumber, so it's going to be a little bit loud, so I will resume at the point where it's not so noisy. Okay, so I've just passed where all the logging was being done. It was quite loud, and there was actually a woman trying to pass me in the opposite direction, and the person operating the truck didn't even notice her, she said, for over 5 minutes. So I was able to get his attention and beckon to him to stop so she could pass with her bike, and then I could pass myself. So This forest is quite vast. However, I must say that anytime I see logging of any kind, even though it's allowed here in this section, it makes me cringe a little because these trees are so old and obviously take years, decades to grow. So eventually, quite a few of them will be gone if this continues. Because I honestly don't see much replanting happening in this area. I know there are other areas that do regularly replant trees and things like that, but this area not so much. So I mean, it'll take a long time, but if they continue to just deplete rather than replenish, then, I mean, it's not rocket science what it will ensue. So here's another setup. I'm not sure if it's the same owners, but this is a setup. So quite a bit of logging happens here. That's a little view of the main town. You can hear the hustle and bustle. It's around morning rush hour right now. And there's a typical religious symbol of some sort. Excuse me. They're sprinkled here throughout the forest. There's a view of the town through the trees in the distance there. You can also hear a little bit of the river. Can't see it, but it's there. You can hear it. Completely overcast today, but at least it's not raining right now. There's a little bit of the town visible through these trees here. Not sure if you can see it. More logs. One could actually come here and get a Christmas tree. These are so beautiful. This section, there's a little bit of clearing that went on, most likely because the trees are very old. If you can see that they look quite dry now in summer. So clearing is necessary sometimes. This is another area that a lot of clearing has happened. There are a mixture of older trees, dry trees, regular ones. How interesting. All these fern-like plants are completely dry. I don't know if it's that they've gotten too much exposure to the sun or they just have a short lifespan, but it's quite interesting. I've seen them in other parts of the forest thriving, so this just might be an area that gets a lot of sun during the summer. This area is also quite exposed to the elements. Not much coverage from the trees in that area, so they're also quite dry there as well. Here's a neat little pile of logs here. It's covered with some kind of aluminum zinc of some kind, and to protect it. Just to give you an idea of how vast and steep it is here. So it's very, very peaceful right now because we're a little bit further away from the road area, the main road. I passed one cyclist so far. Actually two, a woman and then a man passed by after. So here are the same fern-like plants in abundance, and they're not dry. A few of them are, but for the most part these are thriving. So I'm assuming it's because this area is more covered that they're doing well. These are not covered but doing well, so it just may be the angle that the sun hits them, or maybe it's just their lifespan that after a while they just turn brown and die. Very interesting though. There's another part of the forest that looks quite desolate, to a certain point at least. So a lot of logging has happened there as well, in that open space up there. Adventure Park. It's closed today because of the weather. It's overcast and has been a lot of rain, so typically they're open throughout the whole summer. So this is likely weather related that they're not open. So over here, this is just beyond the adventure park. They have quite a few framed plaques showing all about the animals. That's a field hare or rabbit. Here we have the snow bunny. And over here we have some more information about the Sperber. It's a sort of hawk-like looking creature. And some more. The stone hawk, Steinadler. It's a Berghuhn. And then they even have information on flowers, Alpen anemonen. These are just a few, there's so many. That. This one over here, Alpenrebe. Eichelkea, it's another bird. Kohlröschen, Röschen. Baumarda. And though I haven't seen too many, I have actually seen a few deer, Rayen, live and in person. Not too many though. They're usually very quick. Here's the Amsel. So I think it's good that they've included a little bit of facts for people to enjoy while walking throughout the forest here. This is the area. It's not a part of the adventure park, but it's right next to it. This has changed a lot over the years of coming here. Some things haven't changed, but the majority of things have been changed out because they're largely made of wood. So with time they deteriorate. So here's a little area that you can climb up and look out. There, like a little platform. More little obstacle course type things. I'm not sure how you get up to those. Oh, that ladder looks like it's been hoisted up out of reach. So it's possible this is part of the adventure park, but I honestly don't think so because I don't usually see people in this section so much. But they cater to all crowds, young and old, athletic and non-athletic. So you can see a little bit of the town in that area in the center, through the trees. More obstacles. Teeter-totter. So I'm going to go up this area and try to get back to the main walking area because we're coming up on a cemetery and then downhill onto the main road. So I'd rather go back through the forest a different way. And this leads to a different pathway entirely. I will do that another day. So for some distance, I'll just continue back on this road and then I'll catch up again when we're in the forest itself. Ooh, fresh raspberries. Freshly washed by nature, rainwater. There's another one here. Delicious. Here's some more very, very ripe ones. So ripe, it crushed when I touched it. There's some more. I'm looking forward to mine at home producing fruit. But for now, these will do nicely. Yum. So fresh, so sweet. So there's a little chapel area of the cemetery. Of course, I always have to ground, touching a tree or two. I'm going to attempt to go back through this more rugged terrain here. It's so soft with all the moss. I am not sure if I can continue here. Let's see. This path is not as well traveled as others, but I do see a little path here, so we will take it. Just a little pause to capture the mood. A little bit of obstruction here. This tree has fallen over, so I'm going to attempt to go around it. It's a small tree. Another tree fell over here. That happens a lot in this area because a lot of it is mossy. Therefore, the ground is not as stable as in other areas. Look at the lovely moss growing on this tree here. I just feel the need to touch this tree. Okay, now I have to figure where my next steps will be because this area is a little bit more untouched, if you will. I think I'm going to go a little bit lower here and hopefully it'll be some sort of clearing. Can you hear the river in the distance? Okay. So this area is a little bit tricky. It goes down and then up. So I will try my best to keep the camera steady. So this is really the rough part, untouched part of the woods. There's a slight little pathway, but for the most part, it's really untouched. So I'm meeting on cobwebs, so we know it's untouched. Okay, let's see, let's go here. Another tree. There's a sort of ravine there ahead, but I'm going to attempt to go across. Okay, let me just give you a little glimpse. So this goes all the way down there. And I'm going to attempt to cross here without tripping and falling. So it's going to get a little bit rocky here, folks. Okay, so that's the area I just crossed. And the tree. These plants are actually blueberry plants, but right now there are no fruits on them, unfortunately, otherwise I'd pick some. Okay, so let's continue. So we're going up here, and just for some perspective, that's downhill. That's all downhill. So I'm going to continue here. This is remnants of a mushroom. I'm veering uphill. Hopefully not to the street. I'm still in the midst of the forest here, so. Now this is that open area that I said was logged, well logged. A lot of these are just smaller branches. Hopefully they don't catch fire. Right now they're wet, they're damp because of the rain, but there's so many of them. And these are all smaller twigs that are dry. Very good for starting fires or maintaining fires. So I'm going to attempt to climb up through them to get on the main walk path. So this is where I just came from. And we'll head back up on the main pathway here. And I'll resume again when I find a more interesting part of the forest, because we've already walked this path going the other way. And as you may have noticed, they have benches throughout the main walk area here where you can sit and take a pause for the cause and take in everything. Here's another view of the town through the woods, through the trees. There's a nice view of the outskirts of the town through this logged area here. These were freshly logged. They smell so fresh. And there are some more right there. This was the area where they were logging earlier. There was a big logging truck here, and I had to wait a few minutes to get past. We have a much better view of the town. I think I prefer that the trees were here though, but Not much we can do about that now. So I'm going to step off the main pathway and go on this smaller pathway deeper within the forest itself. It's still well traveled, but not as much as the other one where cars are allowed here and there for locals only. So lush and green. This area is great for mountain biking. Especially if you're good at it. There's a little ravine there. And I hear a mountain biker. An old one. He's quite old, but I love that the older generation here, they're quite active. Well into their 90s and above. It's not uncommon to see them riding e-bikes completely uphill. There's another ravine here that goes all the way down. There's another well-traveled pathway down there. Since I've traveled this pathway on one of my previous videos, I won't bore you again with it, but this is just so you see the current status of the forest. So lovely. I just love how green and for the most part peaceful it is. Here's another tree stump laden with moss. So beautiful. So guys, this area is laden with blueberry bushes. All of these that you're seeing are blueberry bushes. So this was where I was able to collect some to take home to plant in pots. There are several areas throughout the forest that are like this. Right now, unfortunately, there are no blueberries on them. I think they've all been harvested. Here are some other wild berries. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm certainly not going to eat them. I've been advised never to eat these round red berries, but I'm not sure of the name of them. Here are some more wild berries. I have no clue what they are, but I'm certainly not going to eat them. So here is another opening. Not much of an opening, but there are signs of life there. Some activity going on. But I much prefer it here in the midst of the woods. This is another opening here. Here's another ravine. Lots of ravines here. More logs being stored in this area. More birds. This would be interesting to do bird watching here because now the weather isn't so great, but I do see some bird activity. They're kind of sparrow-like birds. Maybe they are sparrows, I'm not sure. But I assume it would be great to do bird watching here because of all the different species that likely live here. You can certainly hear them. Here's another opening, and there's some activity going on down there. But just look how majestic these trees are. Oh my goodness. So great. More logs being stored up ahead there. I think these are more for personal use for the locals versus the other ones that were more for, I think, commercial resale. Here's another huge patch of those blueberry plants. They seem a little bit sun burnt. some of the leaves. But this whole area is all blueberry plants. Wild blueberry plants. Isn't Mother Nature wonderful? So let's enjoy the last bit of this lovely walk amongst the trees, in the fresh air. I'm a little surprised not more people are out and about, because kids here have not gone back to school as yet. They start in early September. But as the weather is kind of on the chilly side and a little bit rainy, I suppose they'll wait till it's better weather. So this tree stump here is covered with moss, and it gives me a really great idea for my kids' channel. I think the garden fairies need to do a little excursion. Here we have some strawberries. And this is a raspberry plant, a really healthy one. There's no fruit on it right now though. And more blueberry plants. So I'm at the end of the pathway amongst the trees in the forest. So I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Hope it's magical. And don't forget to take time to ground yourself out in nature if it's possible, or do some kind of self-care to stay well. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified about new episodes.